Hey guys, and welcome back to YT News. In today's video, we'll be reliving some of the very best moments of Jordan Peterson. But first, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel to see more videos like this and much more. Turn on notifications too so you don't miss out on a future video. Alright, let's just get right into this. During Jordan's interview with British GQ, he was absolutely shocked by something that the interviewer brought up. You could visibly see it in his face, tone and reaction. Check this out.
With a Pepe flag.
I can't believe you brought that up.
Right, but I just think it's...
Seriously, I can't believe you brought that up. You should go online.
Yeah, I do.
There's a...
Believe me, I do.
There's a video called, I think it's called, Is Jordan Peterson a Darling of the Alt-Right? Have you watched the video of the person who put up that Pepe flag with me? He's online.
But
go watch it.
I have seen... You wouldn't, I would say...
And why are you concerned about Pepe anyways? Jesus, he disappeared like 3 years ago.
It is...
And most of that was trolling by young guys who were trying to drag the media into idiot accusations like the idea that this was a white supremacist gesture, which I was asked about on CBC. It's like, no, it wasn't.
It was a mix of emotions right here. He was annoyed that it was brought up and he had to explain himself at a length too. He definitely was not happy. There are plenty of interesting moments from that GQ interview.
Conspiracy theory.
He's probably paranoid.
Right, so there are people who take this stuff very seriously and they latch onto it.
What's your point?
I'm saying that, you know, how much responsibility do you feel that you have, particularly guys the alt-right, who, as you say, some of them have enjoyed your work and say,
no,
I'm not one of you guys. I'm not with you guys.
They haven't enjoyed my work.
I've definitely read bits on the internet.
Read more.
Okay.
Find some evidence. I'm extraordinarily sick and tired of this particular accusation / line of questioning.
As you heard here, he was sick and tired, and he was pretty blunt in telling the interviewer to read more. Jordan Peterson was interviewed on a British GQ, and he made an interesting statement about the interviewer, saying that he already knows where she stands on certain issues. So she challenged him, and this is what he had to say.
I stand on all things.
I would hope that was true.
Okay, let's talk about transgender issues. That's fun. What do you think I think about transgender issues?
I suspect that you think that gender expression, gender identity are fundamentally social constructs.
As he finished, she said no, he was doing wrong, but what she said does not at all suggest that Jordan was wrong.
I believe that there are definitely some biological differences between the sexes. We've observed them. I do believe that gender is a hugely powerful social structure that we've built on top of that it is largely but not entirely socially constructed. I think when you look back through the history, you know, biological differences have consistently shrunk, like we were talking in the 80s.
They haven't in Scandinavia. They've made...
Well, she made herself look stupid, didn't she? She couldn't admit that Jordan was correct about her, and yeah, better luck next time, I guess. Here we have a clip in which the infamous Kathy Newman gets into an argument with Jordan Peterson about the correct terms to use for transgender people, and Peterson states that there weren't any laws. He wouldn't use the correct pronouns.
Very controversial for you. And this is, you got in trouble for refusing to call trans men and women by their preferred personal pronouns.
No, that's not actually true. I got in trouble because I said I would not follow the compelled speech dictates of the federal and provincial government. I actually never got in trouble for not calling anyone anything.
Right.
That didn't happen.
You wouldn't follow the change of law, which was designed
not
to
once it was
outlaw
law.
discrimination.
No.
Well,
that's what they said it was designed to do.
Okay.
As the debate starts to get a little more heated, Peterson and Newman started getting into a screaming battle, in which Newman asks Peterson why his freedom of speech should trump the ability of transgender people not wanting to be offended.
Who cited freedom of speech in that? Why should your right to freedom of speech trump a trans person's right not to be offended?
Because in order to be able to think, you have to risk being offensive. I mean, look at the conversation we're having right now. You know, like you're certainly willing to risk offending me in the pursuit of truth. Why should you have the right to do that? It's been rather uncomfortable.
Well, I'm very glad I put you on the spot.
Well,
I'm very glad that I have exercised my freedom of speech.
You get my point. It's like you're doing what you should do, which is digging a bit to see what the hell's going on. And that is what you should do.
Coming up next, we have a clip of Jordan Peterson on a panel with many transgender representatives. However, one of them claims that there are no biological evidence of only two genders existing, and Jordan disagrees.
You teach trans studies, so if you would, give us a brief primer on so many gender identities that in your view require non-traditional pronouns?
Basically, it's not correct that there is such a thing as biological sex. And I'm a historian of medicine. I can unpack that for you at great length if you want, but in the interest of time, I won't. So that's a very popular misconception.
As you can see, this professor states that there are in fact no biological evidence that there should only be two genders. However, Jordan Peterson is quick to also disagree and state why he does disagree. Angry at an interviewer, and he questions the interviewer's intention.
Yeah, you said that the problem with those angry women is that since at the end of the argument you cannot fight physically, you can't really deal with them.
That's not what I said. I said that that's one of the things that keeps conversation between men civil. Women can't argue with angry women. Women are often bullied by angry women.
What I meant was more, you said that, and I'm really like not trying to paraphrase you or, you know, to put words into your mouth.
You are trying that directly.
It is things that you said, that you cannot deal with those
yes, but don't tell me
crazy
that you're not trying to put words into my mouth, because you've selected what you're going to ask, and you selected it very carefully.
You can see how intense Jordan gets here when he feels like the interviewer is trying to get him in trouble. But once again, like he did in the first incident between the two, he was having absolutely none of it. This time, even though the interviewer gets some, as he gets angry too.
He asking me, for example, why I've spoken to 250,000 people live in the last 8 months, that might be more newsworthy.
Well, we're not going to have a big debate about journalism, but if a journalist doesn't ask the tough questions, how can you give the good answers?
Well, it depends on what the tough questions are. It depends on
I didn't think that they would be tough. We're talking about things that you said. I mean, if it's easier to have conversation between men, because there is this underlying threat, you know, of a physical contact.
I don't think it's easier. It tends to be somewhat more...
It was reported that there should be no jail time for using the wrong pronoun when addressing transgender, but rather there should be a fine instead that you have to pay. Jordan was asked about it and his answer was pretty funny. Take no time at all. He answered the question by asking what if he doesn't pay the fine. Clearly he would not have accepted jail time, but it's even more hilarious that he also finds the fine ridiculous. One day someone was really out to tarnish Jordan Peterson's name and asked some questions that implied lots of things about him. It slowly turned into quite a heated argument.
Disavow the physical violence. Trans people were physically assaulted at this rally in your name. Would you like to disavow that violence?
Yes.
So you wish that didn't happen, and you want to, and I'm going to post this online that you would like people to not to be more accommodating of trans people and people of color at your events in future.
I would like there to be no violence.
I'm a person of color, and I felt very accommodating. I felt like my voice. Thank you very much.
I'm also former Muslim, and I feel like this guy
I'm a person of color.
You wanted to disavow. You wanted to disavow.
Jordan made many efforts to put such nonsense accusations to bed, but instead he had others doing that for him. And it made the person that was questioning Jordan look pretty damn stupid. Jordan in an interview was beginning to feel like he was being backed in a corner, and he eventually had an outburst and he was not going to stand for it. He made it really clear to the interviewer. Like, check this out.
About masculinity.
We are.
No, we're not.
Yes, we are.
How are we talking about masculinity?
Because I'm asking you what you think of men and of women.
No, basically what you've been trying to do, I would say for the last 15 minutes, is put me into a sequence of corners by accusing me of various forms of misbehavior.
Jordan stood his ground and defended himself. You can tell how offended and angry he got, and he finally reached the last straw. In this clip, Jordan Peterson is on the Rubin report, starts off by saying how even when the cameras were off, they still talked and they still would if they were on. And Rubin also said that this made him a better person. However, Jordan doesn't quite agree.
I know you guys pretty well at this point, and this crew of people that we're sort of in. When we're off camera, we're actually talking about the exact same things. Like we are, whether this camera was on right now or off, like we're living this thing all the time. I can speak from my own experience in this regard. It's made me a better person, and I'm still striving to be a better.
How?
I'm more authentic. I'm more honest.
No. Unforgivably stupid. And I can also see that, and I believe this to be the case, is that you just have failed developmentally. Neurological evidence in...
Jordan goes as far as to say that Rubin has failed developmentally and saying that he's also a child because he depends on his parents. He also said that the neurological evidence in the regard is quite clear.
That regard is quite clear. You're a child and you're dependent on your parents. You can't treat yourself properly. You can't have a relationship with another person. You can't stabilize your family. It's actually a developmental failure. You have to regrow an arm. It's really painful, you know. It's something like that, and that's the case. So
wow, I have to reevaluate some of the things that I think.
And you live in hell unless you know them. The part of you that's wrong has to die. Right? I mean, I'm hinting at physical threat.
That brings us to the end of today's video, guys. Thank you guys for watching. If you guys did enjoy, then make sure to smash that like button and subscribe to the channel to see more awesome content like this and much more. Turn on notifications too so you don't miss out on a future video. We'll see you guys next time, or until then, take care and bye for now.